Good morning. Good morning. Oh, let me get the right scene. There we go. Good morning. Good morning. And welcome to the morning market report. We've got a bunch of news to break down. And we're also seeing just a little bit of some rumblings in the geopolitical world. So we got some of that to talk about as well. We're seeing a little bit of some sell off in the markets today. Looks like OC had to take a phone call real quick. Let me let me get over to some of our news today, and we will just start with that. We got OC screen up here, so let's start with those TradFi markets. We are seeing just a little bit of a mixed bag here this morning. We've got Apple sitting up 0.18. We've got Nvidia down 1.32. We got Berkshire Hathaway up 0.56. Amazon sitting down 1.5%. Eli Lilly up 1.04 this morning. We've got ExxonMobil almost up 2% right now. Tesla down 1.78. P&G up 0.78. We've got Microsoft down almost 12%, sitting down 11.5% right now. We've got Google down 1.9 and Meta up 7.62 right now. Hopping over to the crypto side of things, we've got a sea of red bubbles over here. A lot of big red bubbles. Not too unexpected, as we are seeing Bitcoin start to shed just a little bit of its price. Bitcoin sitting down 4% right now, Ethereum down 6%. We've got BNB down 3.7, XRP sitting down 5.2. We've got Solana dropping a spot in the market cap this morning, down 6.5%. We've got Tron holding on a little bit here, up 0.4% on the daily, but seeing some red on the hourly. We've got Dogecoin down 6.5%. We've got Cardano down 6.6 and Bitcoin Cash sitting down 5.9. Sitting just outside of that top 10, we've got Leo token up 0.4%. Not too unexpected when you're seeing this big market sell off here. Hopping over to those fear and greed meters, we've got that stock market at 63, still sitting in some greed that isn't too unexpected, as we saw it hold quite steady after that FOMC yesterday. Hopping over to this liquidity heat map, we've got a little bit more liquidity directly underneath us from the low back here, looking at 87,100 all the way down to about 86,800. Keep your eyes on that area. Definitely an area we can continue to grab up some liquidity in. Got to zoom this on out just a little bit further here. Take a look at this 2-week. If it'd load just a little bit quicker, there we go. We've still got a little bit that we have yet to grab. We have started to grab up some of this downside liquidity here, and we're really keeping our eye on this bottom side on the 2-week at about 84,300. So keep your eye on that area. If we continue towards the downside, that is close to some of that bottoming area that we are looking for. And actually, OC before the show was calling out some levels towards me, and that's pretty spot on to an area that he was calling out towards the downside. I know you had a few things to go over as well, but before we get to that, let's pull up our data drops for today. We did get factory orders month over month. Was prior negative 1.3%, coming out 2.7% this time, looking like a little bit of a boost in that manufacturing sector. We'll kind of have to see if we can get just a little bit of some positive moves tomorrow, because it does look like we're going to continue to see that sell off today. We'll have to get into some of that other data tomorrow because we don't have anything else on today's list. I know you had some things to go over, OC, so let me toss that over to you.
Let's go. How is it going? BC, welcome. Well, not welcome. You just welcome. Man,
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
sorry. Uh,
I saw you had that phone call right as the show was getting started.
yes, sorry. I mean, at the beginning of the morning, I was looking at the markets, and well, like sometimes we need to take care of our parents, and I was calling my dad because he's also trading Bitcoin, and he tells me when it moves, you need to call me, right? Oh, I did call him in the morning, and then they drop back the call. They called me back because they did not pick up, and they was like, "What?" And I just, "Bitcoin is dropping. Get ready to buy." And I need to go over the show. All right. So, the long story short, it was just a call out for my parents just to let them know that we are getting closer to a buy up zone. So, very quickly, right now, I am 70.55% profits. Yesterday, I opened up a short at 87,733. So, basically, right here at the very end of this candle. And we were talking about first the trend line, right? Trend line breakout. Then remember that we talked about we bought in here or we shorting here and then we shorted up in this other area. And well, we averaged down our entry position right in here, right? But we were expecting, or I was expecting a little bit more of a triangular pattern because of yesterday's FOMC meeting and seeing it that it was a nothing burger. Well, the guy didn't swing at it, man. I really was expecting something unexpected there. Some like hint of, you know what? Be careful, bro, because I got you by the you know, by the tanning things.
By
So
the short and curlies.
there you go, that one. Oh man, that's the very first time I hear that. I love it. I'm gonna note that into my new dictionary. All right, so so what happened here is that we had nothing burger here. Well, just that little volatility within those two candles, and as soon as we broke out, well, since we broke with strength and we were breaking the trend line, the support zone, and also we had I don't got it right here, a smart money entry right there. Well, I immediately open up a short at a candle close. And it closed right there, almost right there. Look at that, 87,900. And my entry was a little bit lower, 87,700, right? So there it is. So I opened up in here yesterday night. It went through some just shaking, basically a little bit in the red, and finally today we have a drop down. But if we zoom out, and I'm gonna start zooming out in a second, but if we kind of like a zoom out, remember that we are expecting this, right? And I've been pushing this all the way till this resistance. And I told you guys, I don't really care when it's gonna happen, but as soon as it happens, it's because it needs to break the trend line, right? So as you can see, it played out fantastically, and I don't really need to take the TP top. Remember, we shorted all the way from here to there. Then we were taking profits as we started going upwards, and then we shorted at the breakout, right? So we're doing fantastic. Hopefully, you guys are also tracking. Now, let me clear this up a little bit like this, and let me hide everything here. And I'm going to bring up one more thing, which is the Wyckoff method. Let me just put it out of the way because I still trade on Binance. All right. And I'm just making sure I'm not flashing there any private information. All right. And I want to remind you guys that we've been keeping track on the Wyckoff schematic, right? So this is the one that right now it's on play. And very important, we've been waiting for this spring over months, guys, over 2 months. All right. So this is not something new. We start talking about it when we see the very first V-shaped recovery, and we already had that little range at the beginning. So we've been preaching about this range, and we've been trading the range, right? Buying low, selling high. Not like yesterday, not buying high and selling low. And
Hey, sometimes you got to take a little gamble.
absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Break of structure. Shout out for that. So, for the most part, right now, we are heading into the spring. How long will the spring be? Guys, this is not like a for sure chart, right? So, we have like over 30 accumulation schematics from Wyckoff, right? Some of them have a spring, some of them not. Nonetheless, on my experience and also what's based on the books, this is right here one of the most uh um played out once, right? So this happens most frequently than any other one. So let's go over here and let me zoom out. There it is. Let me remind you that we had this range that we weren't sure which one was it as it happened. And then as we had the next high, we absolutely defined this as the top range. And we've been trading this. So right now we're getting over to half the spring. If everything goes, the spring should be within the vicinity of this low or even a little bit lower if we are on a perfect schematic. So let me bring up all of my mess in here for you guys. And there it is. Remember, we've been tracking this. All right. And right here, look at that. We have our very first box, all right, on red, which is the area that I'm going to be looking for. And ding, ding, ding. We're almost right there. Let me actually add an alert right there. There it is. So my alert is already at 84,800, right? So that is the very first thing what I'm going to be executing one out of 3 entries that I have. Very important. This is a DCA entry, just like the one I took on 100K. Remember, if it doesn't play it out, I don't care. It's going into my savings account, right? Therefore, it's kind of like a big-ish entry, and I'm dividing that in 3. The very first one is going to be right at the very top, 84,500 or 600. The next one is going to be almost at the end at 82,500, some of that. And the next one is going to be below 81. Okay, how am I going to be tracing the last entry? With a predictive range. Let me see if I can bring them up because lately, I don't know why they keep turning off on me. Oh, here it is. Oh, there it is. So my last entry is going to be either here, right? Or maybe, and I really expect not to, somewhere around here. And that's because we have another predictive range in here. But getting all the way down there, guys, this is not a Wyckoff anymore. All right. So just giving you the heads up. All right. So first entry at the top, second entry almost at the bottom, and third entry in most likely entry right in here at 80K 100. Guys, don't be afraid at this point. Oh, come on. Don't do that. All right. Don't be afraid at this point if you have a long. Remember, and you are underwater very first. And I know maybe at this point you have not much to do, but you should have used a stop loss. And I'm telling you this because I learned it the hard way. Don't do the same as I did. All right. So if you have at this point in long and you are very over leveraged, consider taking something out of the table and until you are okay with your maximum loss. All right. Sometimes we need to take the hit. But if you're still within your stop loss area, well, remember, I'm looking and expecting a V-shaped recovery out of this part. All right. So as you guys can remember, and I've been also telling you guys, we've been doing 3x, no 5x, no 10x, not 20x, not 40x at this point, because we are on a very dangerous zone, right? So we either make or break this wick. So hopefully we actually have the V-shaped recovery. That will be a fantastic played out a comeback up. And well, then I'm going to be taking some profits at the top of the bridge. Remember, you buy low, you sell high, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat until it takes you out. So yeah, that's what I got so far, BC. I'm pretty excited if you haven't noticed. And this time I have a very nice coffee today. So shout out to you, my friend.
No OJ in the coffee today.
No, Jay, man. Oh, that was it. Dude, tomorrow.
All right. Well, Piper's not here to give you crap about it, so you might as well do it while you can. So we did have a lot of news to go over today. We have been seeing a lot going on. We've seen uranium going parabolic here. Uranium is now trading at $8,100. A lot of this has to do off administration changes around nuclear energy that's been happening in the background, hasn't been widely discussed. So uranium on an absolute tear right now. Keep your eye on that one. I'll get that chart pulled up after we go over the news. We did have this one as well. OC will show us the new percentages on Polymarket here, but this morning we had the odds of a government shutdown dropping from 80% to 39% on Polymarket, looking like a lot of last minute deal making is going into effect. We'll keep our eyes on this one, especially since this needs to happen by Friday or the government shuts down on Saturday. We also had this one for this morning, seeing some airplanes and seeing some aircraft carriers heading over towards the Middle East, looking like they will be stopping off in Spain, with the ultimate destination being the Middle East. We were talking about some of this yesterday when we saw Trump talking about Iran's leadership over there, hoping that they weren't going to pick someone and backing someone else. Looking like we are now sending some more aircraft carriers over there, along with some aerial refueling tankers. So keep your eyes on that. Seeing a lot of shakeup in that Middle East region. This could give us some market shakeup as well, especially on those TradFi markets. This is another big one we saw coming out of Amazon. I've been hounding on this one for a while. We saw them fire over 1 million people last year, and it looks like that trend will be continuing in 2026. We've got Amazon laying off 1,600 corporate workers, looking to really reduce a lot of their office jobs. And it looks like on top of that, Amazon runs AWS. Let me get this zoomed in a little bit so you can see it just a little bit better. We've got AWS looking to lay off people as well. So keep your eyes on that. Amazon looking like it's going to be firing even more people this year, especially as AI becomes a big part of what Amazon does. We've also got this news article as well. Home buyers are backing out of deals at the fastest pace in nearly a decade. More than 40,000 signed home purchase agreements were canceled in December, representing 16.3% of all homes that went under contract. There were roughly 47% more home sellers than buyers in the market in December, according to the real estate broker. This is a trend that is looking to continue here in January as well. We have been seeing more homes on the market than at any time since about 2017. And this trend, it doesn't look like it's slowing down anytime soon. This is more of a seller's market, but you're also seeing most of your buyers go for new home builds. So keep your eyes on this housing market, looking like it's getting a few more cracks in the system. I did want to pull up uranium real quick since we touched on that. And then, do you want to get Polymarket pulled up for the people so we can go over those government shutdown odds? Here is that uranium chart here. This is URA, the uranium ETF. I've been calling this one out for a while. We did get a little bit of a sweep of liquidity down below our support line here before we really started this blast off. We will have to get a trend-based fib extension pulled on up here from our lows to our highs. We will go for our current range here, lows to our highs to our low here. As you can see, we are quickly approaching the top side of our fib extension levels. Let's get this zoomed on in so you can see it just a little bit better. As you can see, we got that move above our platinum pocket here. That was basically $60. We saw a little bit of some sell-off this morning, looking to get a retest on our golden pocket, that 618 here at $55.61, to see if we can get some continuation. Uranium has been on an absolute tear. It does look a little bit toppy here on the daily, seeing some curvature here on our oscillators, but the big thing to keep in mind here is our money flow is continuing with some strength here on the daily time frame. So we could definitely get some continuation if we see on the shorter term time frame that we are getting a a continuation of that money flow. Zooming this on out, really taking a look at that 1 week. That 1 week is telling you that you could get that continuation here. So keep your eyes on that 55-60 range for a little bit of some bouncing. And then that next real area to keep your eyes on is about $80. That's our 1618 in our more local area. And then we'll have to pull up some new levels as you're seeing this money flow really starting to pick on up here on the weekly. You're looking like your prime oscillator switching from that light red towards the green as that MACD gets that break above our indicator line here, and your volume's really getting some pickup here on the weekly as well. So uranium not looking like it's going to slow down anytime soon. I've been calling that one out for a while, and I'm feeling a little bit vindicated right now because I was buying through this whole range. So you got that poly market pulled up for the people, OC?
Yeah,
All right.
absolutely.
Let me get the
Let's go
screen share.
first to the Polymarket. Yeah, absolutely. And well, talking about first decision in March and then US government shutdown. Let me just refresh this 64, 66, and then things start pumping up. And we're talking about this right before of the show, didn't we? So like it was like, hey, they need to make a decision on Saturday. And I was like, I don't think they're gonna make it. I don't think they're gonna make it, right? So we see this in other news that right now are thinking right now, and let me just pass over that really quickly. It's gold. So if you guys are not watching right on spot, look at that. We missed that retracement for the slightest. Well, it's not that big. Look at that. We were wrong for 2.3%, right? But other than that, perfect. And remember, on the longer time frames, we were expecting that retracement to happen a little bit earlier. So we were seeing this retracement coming. And then on the latest analysis, if I'm not mistaken, was it yesterday or was it the day before? I
I
think
think it was Monday.
Yeah, I think it was Monday that we were talking about the predictive ranges in here. Let me see if I can bring them up and make them plot. There it is. Remember, we were talking about this predictive range, this purple predictive range. And remember what I told you, I'm pretty excited to see this breaking because once we break that predictive range, well, then we are going to be generating a new set of predictive ranges. And guess what is the usual direction? Going and hit the blue line. And look at that. Ding, ding, ding. We hit the blue line. Exactly. We had a pretty good direction. There it is. Time to maybe execute one entry. And then as the coming back down, look at that. Right to the order block. Right in there where we have our line of break of structure, right? Remember, we took a kamikaze trading here, right? And we were taking profits in here and of course, as we have a reversal. So, guys, I don't want to go and send you to buy at this moment because despite we are in a pretty good area because of the way that they hit it, all right, we haven't had or we don't have just yet a flip of the ribbon. Let me do a quick overview here before we go. Before we start skipping this, and let's measure the parabolic since it started all the way to now the actual kind of like an actual quote unquote end, right? So I'm gonna be grabbing this one right here and then extending it all the way here. And remember, we are looking very first to the 33 percent retracement. Look at that. I think I'm gonna be calling that the OC pocket. I always tell you to look for that 33, man. And no kidding, no kidding. I learned this first out of watching Alexo Crypto using the Fibonacci's and then you Piper using the Fibonacci. And they never tracked the 33%. And they always looked like, I mean, it was a much more precise, of course, at 38%, right? 38%. Look at that. Right on spot, right? But being myself, like I really want to get into that, I started running some numbers. And funny story, the average was like a 60 something percent that we get a 33 hit. The chances went all the way to 30 to 40 something percent, depending on the asset and the time frame, to 38%. So I stuck with the 33% retracement for a quote unquote for sure retracement. So, well, right now we keep pushing. We don't see the flip of the ribbon. That's why I cannot send you to buy. And this is not financial advice. But if you are planning to enter, this could be a good area to just start testing the waters. All right. So here it is up. This is not 100x buy it all gold right now. No, no, no. This is just testing the waters, all right? Testing the waters. So be careful, be responsible, right? And remember, we buy when everybody is on fear, all right? Let's go back, take a look at Bitcoin because it just dinged. There it is. It's entering into my box. I should be buying right now. I did had an open order. Let me see because I had it marked in here. Let me see if that went in. And come on. Oh, not quite there. You're right. So this is my next order, 82. So, yep, not quite there. I need to adjust this. Most likely, I'm going to be jumping in the cut or at the end of the show. I'm going to be executing my first DCA buy. So, yeah, that's what I got. VC, let me know what are you have in mind and why do you think we're dropping that hard?
Um, Honestly, I have not gotten too far into today's news, but we're extremely close to a level that I was looking for on Bitcoin for some downside price action. We blasted through our short-term time frame fibs. Let me get the higher term time frame fib pulled on up so you can see it just a little bit better here. This is our 382 on a higher term time frame. So as you can see, this is pulled from our complete range here, from our low to our high. Looking to retest on our 382 here. That's $84,000. I was not expecting us to move that quickly this morning. Looking like we're already close to it. We could get some movements below that, kind of looking for the $80,000 range if we can't hold our 382. Pretty close in line to what you were talking about, that $81,000. So really at a decision level for Bitcoin. If we can't hold some of our support down here, really looking like that bear market might be full and in full effect. And I was kind of calling out the end of January to the beginning of February for our next real big move. So pretty in line with what I was looking for there. I did have the Dixie pulled up because, we were talking about that the other day after the big sell off, saying it might be a little bit positive for some of our assets and for some of these cryptos. We're now starting to see the dollar get a little bit of strength in it. We are at some bottoming actions here on the daily time frame. As you can see, we've got some oversold signals flashing. We've got some curvature here on the prime oscillator. We still got some red volume, so kind of keep your eyes on that. We were looking for a little bit of a retest on our trend line here, all the way back up at about 97.75. So keep your eyes on that as this daily is starting to look nice and bottomed. We are seeing a little bit of some different news here on the hourly here. We are ranging just a little bit sideways. We do have a resistance area at about 96.77. So we do need to break above that to get that nice solid retest on the higher term time frames up at that 97 area before potentially continuing a little bit further towards the downside. If we do get that downside price action on the Dixie, I would look for a little bit of some support on your assets, both Bitcoin and the TradFi markets. So could be quite in line with what you're looking for some bouncing over there on Bitcoin OC. You got something else pulled up for the people?
Yeah, absolutely. We can go over a couple of things that I've been watching. So, very first thing, I want to go over fear and greed. Remember that yesterday we were talking about the fear and greed index, right? Not 100% sure if I mentioned this in the morning market report, but I did absolutely mention it on Chart Prime and the hackers community, which was, well, we were coming out, all right, out of the fear zone. So getting more into confidence, right? So that would have been a perfect area to drop the market one more time to really shake out the tree. And guess what? That actually played out. So we might be seeing tomorrow throughout the day this fear and greed index start moving faster towards the fear. But remember, we are right now on DCA entry zones, right? So again, I'm not sending you to buy 100x or anything like that, right? Not financial advice, but I am definitely adding to my DCA. By the way, I was really anxious because Monday, brother, I was like, dude, this thing is moving. And I don't know if I should be waiting for my DCA entry. Thanks God, I did wait a little bit here, and I'm going to get a much better price. Another one that I want to go over, it is the Bitcoin or Altcoin season. Look at that. We're having a little bit of that icon market cap going lower. I don't think that we might have a Bitcoin season with this metrics at this point, but we are closer to Bitcoin season that we are from Altcoin season. And well, then, so be careful with altcoins. Talking about altcoins, we keep in mind River, Monero, Just, what was the other one? And we start looking couple things right down here, and I believe that we looked into LDO, Floki, Bonk, and couple of other things like, for example, Polygon, right? So also remember, what was it, 2 days ago, Monday or Tuesday, not quite remember. Remember, I entered for a 300. I mean, I bought $300 on Ethereum. I bought 100 bucks of Solana. And anything that has its own chain but TRX. And why I didn't bought TRX, it didn't look like right at the moment. So just keep in track that we still have that on holdings. That is not a trade. That is anything that has its own channel because, well, as we might be seeing this movement, they're going to have some fees. So, well, just keeping track on that too. And finally, let me go over the crypto. Where is it? Here it is crypto derivatives, right? So right here we can start seeing a long closing. That's because they're getting stopped out, right? And short entries, a lot of short entries right now playing out. This indicates to me that we look at the unbalanced, all right? So look at the unbalanced. This is the 15 minutes, which tells me that in the 4 hours we might have just a little bit of a retracement. So keep your eyes on that. Let's go over to the 4 hour. The 4 hour is still pretty bearish. We're seeing a lot of imbalance, and that's what leads me to believe that we might have that V-shaped recovery. So again, this is not a for sure thing because long closing might create a snowball effect where we have a sellout a cheaper, right? So it creates more fear and more roll down price at those zones. So just be careful in that one. Let me bring up a couple of things really quickly before I throw it back to you. Trump tries boosting or hurting XRP price. It's hurting every coin, but except when we're talking about the Genius Act and the Clarity Act, right? So those are kind of go pushing the right way. So just don't fall for that little title, right? And the one that I wanted to bring up, it's Silver Trades face a make or break. And guys, we already have the answer, right? Let's actually go. So this news, it's getting old very, very quickly. But at this point, I just want to mention that we are right on the trend line. So despite gold is having a meltdown, silver, it's kind of holding, right? We are still on the make or break zone. Why? Because if we break the trend line, most likely we're going to have a lower high and then we have a bigger retracement. Not the end of the world. I don't think the silver run up is over. It's just a retracement, right? So far so good. I don't think the new world order, it's a world order, economical world is about to jump in or kick in. I think we still have some buffering time for that. But yeah, so far that's what I got overall prepared. Do you have anything else, ABC?
I did have silver pulled on up. Let me get into that. We also had someone talking about silver in the chat here. So I've got a fib extension pulled on up for silver. As you can see, we've gotten some nice stair stepping here once we got a little bit of a break off of our trend line. We saw our 382 be a nice area, our 50% line be a nice area, and then we completely blasted through the golden pocket, the platinum pocket, and we saw a little bit of some retesting on the one line. We are trying to hold the one line right now, but we are looking extremely toppy here on the 4 hour. We've got a little bit of a diamond here as well, losing a little bit of our volume. Really waiting to see if we can hold that one line. If we're not going to hold that one line, I would look for our 786 at about 101.33. That's that area to potentially look for a little bit of some bouncing at on silver. Could get you that nice little next move towards the upside, and looking at $133 to potentially be that next real upside area where we see some resistance at. Here on the shorter term time frame, dropping this down to the hourly, you can also see that we've started to pick up some of our buy volume, but we've really lost some of this money flow here. So kind of keep your eyes on that. We could use some more cool off on silver. This big red candle could continue towards the downside after a little bit of some sideways action on top of our one line here. Looking for some more cool off that could either be done with sideways price action or with a harsher move towards the downside. So those are those two moves I'd kind of watch for, either sideways here and then a push down to sweep up any liquidity that would be below that wick before a next move towards the upside, or a harsher move towards the downside before we get that move back towards the upside there. So that's what I got on silver for you. What you got left for the people? We've got about time for one more asset before we have to head on out. I see Army Piper in the house. Good morning, sir.
Let's go. All right. Welcome, Piper. Great to have you on your show. So hopefully you're having fun. And I'm keeping track of your adventures, man, on Twitter and on WhatsApp. That's fantastic. I love it. I love it. You should absolutely run them dry. So let's take a look at TIA. I was expecting to have either a breakout or a super surge. Remember that we had this on place, right? These two on place to start looking for a possible bounce. Right now, we're overextending. We have a taking profit, and we're looking for that flip of the ribbon. So be patient with TIA. This is not a time to start buying altcoins, despite this is a good area. If you're looking for, and let's go to daily, looking for some smart entries because we are on a support, right? Or support zone right here. So we're not pushing lower. We're kind of like quote unquote hole in the ground, and we already have a flip of the ribbon. But since Bitcoin is on free fall at this moment, this could always go lower. All right. So be careful at this moment. Let's just wait until TIA start coming back up. And once we start breaking some good areas of resistance and then retracement, we're going to be looking for these areas to break back inside or to buy back inside and maybe take that opportunity. If not, we're just going to be waiting for a little flat positive bearish continuation, something like that. And then we're going to do a buy up here, oh, sorry, a sell out here or a sell out there as we have a flip of the ribbon below the zero line. So this is not the time at this moment to start doing altcoins. We have a lot of things ringing for those entry supports. And look at that. One of those things was ICP. If you guys recall, we were looking for an entry yesterday. We finally hit that support zone, and the volatility has not yet taken so out. So keep an eye on that flip of the ribbon. And well, remember, as soon as we can, we're closing this up. That's why we should be having a stop loss. All right. Remember that. LDO, we also talked about LDO. We have a half of an entry right in here. And of course, we got hit. Remember, this is my second entry right there. So we should be right now while waiting for the next entry. Those are separate entities. So we're already out of the first one and maybe looking for the next one. I'm not going to be executing that one until, and I don't know why the alert is not there. So let's add it until I see the flip of the ribbon, right? So that pretty much sums up everything that I'm looking at. I'm not really pushing it, but we'll see how that plays out with Bitcoin. If Bitcoin start retracing, other coins are also going to start retracing, and maybe that would be our signal. We still need to find that bottoming pattern.
Most definitely. Let me get over to that two-person screen. It is pretty much time to wind that show on down. I'm not seeing anyone live to redirect to, so looking like we will just end the show, and we'll see you at the next one here at 7 p.m.
You heard it here first. Bitcoin is going to zero.
Hey, well, Bitcoin will never go to zero because I'm never gonna sell my Bitcoin. So we
Me
can
either,
go,
brother.
yeah, we can go only so low because people like OC and me will never sell our Bitcoin. So we do have another show that we will be adding to Piper Academy here on on the afternoon. I will be going live with my new show, The Power Hour. We'll have JR on 2 days a week, geared towards teaching instead of looking at charts, breaking news down. We're looking to have a little bit of fun, do some live trading. So keep your eyes out for that. The Good Morning Crypto playlist, I'll be changing that to the Power Hour. But you are going live this evening, OC?
Absolutely. We have to take a look at what we can dig in today. And well, maybe we might be able to catch some V-shaped recovery. Still not for sure. We still need to touch on to start testing the waters to see how cold things are, how hot things are. And based on what we see tonight, we might be able to call a couple of shots, right? Remember, we're doing low leverage trading at this point, exactly because of what we're seeing right now on Bitcoin, right? So at this point, it's kind of like a for fun, right? Just for the love of to the sport. But I'm concentrating my efforts on Bitcoin at this point. This is Bitcoin season, guys. Well, Bitcoin season, guys. And the name of the game, it's BTC over time.
Most definitely. So no 500x on BTCC for some Bitcoin longs and Bitcoin shorts, playing it safe. But it is 10 a.m. Time to wind the show on down. We appreciate every single person tuning on in today. If you like the show, give us a little thumbs up and a share. Get this out to as many people as possible. But until next time, make sure to use a stop loss and trade safe in these markets. Don't take too much risk. Pull an OC. Use 3x. Don't do 150x. And keep your capital safe because that's the name of the game. Have a good one.
That's the rap. Chart stack data never lie. Piper led the mission, OC in the sky. Spaghetti on the screen, but the vision stay prime. Chart prime visual, signals on time. Alumni strong, we built from the grind. Lessons in the market that'll outlive time. Knowledge is profit, you know how we run. Till the next one, stay sharp, get it done. We'll see you at the next one.
What the fuck they're doing?
Morning market report out. Boom shakalaka. We'll see you at the next one. Morning market report out. We'll see you at the next one. Morning market report. Ow.
That was awesome, dude!